The Eastern Cape Education Department head, Naledi Mbude, has been suspended. One of the issues at hand is the delay in delivering textbooks, as well as the forfeiture of a 200 million rand grant meant for school infrastructure. Premier Oscar Mabuyane suspended Mbude on full pay as a precautionary measure pending investigations into the Department of Education. Joining me now to tell us more as to the Premier's steps here is Khusela Rantjie, who speaks for the Premier of the Eastern Cape. Ms. Rantjie, thank you very much for your time. Are you able to give us more detail than what I've just fleshed out in that introduction as the reason why the HOD has been placed on precautionary suspension?
Good morning to you. I think those are really the reasons why the Premier, after having looked at what has been happening in the education sector within the province, had decided that for him to be able to look into the matters closely, the HOD must be put on precautionary suspension, and then a team be appointed to conduct an inquiry into what we have seen or what has been reported widely in the public domain, the delays in the payments of educator assistance, issues around the delays in delivering some of the material at schools, as well as the 205 million that had to be returned to Treasury due to the fact that it was not spent. So looking into those issues, the Premier felt it is necessary at this stage to put the HOD on suspension.
What explanation has there been, or what explanation did the Premier get from the HOD, firstly, as it pertains to the delay in delivering textbooks to schools?
I think at this stage, given the fact that we don't know to what length the process would go, we would not want to go into those details. However, I can say that the HOD was, or the Premier has been in talks with the HOD for some time now around these matters, and she was given an opportunity last week to kind of put a case forward to the Premier as to why she could not be put, or she should not be put on precautionary suspension. Safe to say that the Premier then was not really satisfied with the responses that were coming from the head of department. Hence, he felt it is necessary that he be put on suspension, and then the Premier looks into the matter much more closely. So I think that's where we're at this stage, and we would want to allow that process to continue. And the team that has been appointed, I must say that they have been given a month to look into these three issues and provide a report to the Premier, and thereafter the Premier would decide how to move the process forward.
Well, let me tell you, Ms. Rantjie, what the HOD has been saying, because it does appear that they have been speaking somewhat. And the explanation here is that she said the following, that she discovered that the department had been deliberately submitting manual orders for textbooks and stationery for years, delaying payment until the next financial year due to insufficient funds in the department. She goes on to say, doing so is a violation of the Public Finance Management Act. It would appear here that the HOD is possibly getting into trouble trying to fix the mess that has been going on in the education department in the Eastern Cape, rather than possibly underperforming.
What I would say to that is that the Premier has given space for the Department of Education to kind of recover in terms of some of the areas that have been challenging the department in the last couple of months. And I think it will be up to the HOD then to put forward her case in terms of what has been happening. And as the accounting authority in that space, I would think that when there are such situations that she has identified, it was or it is up to her as the accounting authority to ensure that she closes those gaps. And at this stage, the issues that we are dealing with, it's the three issues from the side of the Premier that have put her in the position she's at currently. Those are the issues that we are dealing with, and the focus of the investigation or the inquiry will be really on those issues and nothing else.
Well, let's quickly deal with the 205 million rand, which had to be returned to National Treasury, Ms. Rantjie. And again, the HOD explaining herself that the reason the infrastructure budget was underspent was due to the significant, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure that she had discovered in the infrastructure program. Once again, it would seem that this HOD is seized with a mess in this department that she's trying to sort out, and therefore placing her on precautionary suspension. In a way, as I'm reading this, it just makes the Premier's actions here a little suspicious. Are there political motives for this decision?
No, there are absolutely no political motives for the decision. The decision is in the interest of the people of the Eastern Cape, especially the children that are and would perhaps continue to suffer in the event that no intervention is brought in here. Let me also hasten to say that in the process of the inquiry that will be conducted, the HOD will be provided ample time to bring forth her case and also to bring whatever other evidence she might have that perhaps someone else has been doing wrong, and the blame should not then come to her door. And also follow that by saying that this is really not to say that at this stage 100% there was wrongdoing on the side of the HOD, but it's to get to the bottom of it and to understand in the event that there has been, for example, one of the things that the Premier has put forward to the HOD is to say there's possibly a misconduct here, there's possibly a matter of negligence, there's possibly a matter that relates to poor performance. So the inquiry is to say what is it exactly that has happened in the space of the Department of Education, and thereafter then the relevant steps will be taken. And I would also say that it might happen that in the process of the inquiry, it points out that perhaps other people have been involved and there were lapses on their side. And all of those things must be dealt with to make sure that we once and for all fix any other challenges, even if those challenges are found to be systematic challenges within the Department of Education. At this stage, getting to the bottom of it so that in the future we do not find ourselves in this very same position. I think that's what is foremost very important in the mind of the Premier, and that is in the interest of the people of the Eastern Cape.
Khusela Rantjie speaks for the Eastern Cape Premier, Oscar Mabuyane. Thank you very much for that update. This is on the back of the suspension of the Education Department head, Naledi Mbude.